Welcome to Friday's devotions. We're in 1 Timothy chapter 3 and we're reading verses 1 to 7 today. The saying is trustworthy. If anyone aspires to the office of overseer, he desires a noble task. Therefore, an overseer must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, sober-minded, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, able to teach. Not a drunkard, not violent, but gentle. Not quarrelsome, not a lover of money. He must manage his own household well, with all dignity, keeping his children submissive. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he care for God's children? He must not be a recent convert, or he may become puffed up with conceit and fall into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must be well thought of by outsiders, so that he may not fall into disgrace, into a snare of the devil. Amen. Paul here speaks of the importance of the office of an overseer or an elder. There's two words in the New Testament, overseer and an elder, and they're used interchangeably, the same post within the church. And Paul here summarizes the high moral character and life that is needed of someone called to be an elder. Particular emphasis there in verses 2 to 3. An overseer must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, sober-minded, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, and goes on. And what we see here, there is far greater emphasis on the character of the man than on his ability. And that's so true in the Christian life. What matters most is our character. If we're right in our hearts with the Lord, which then shows in our life. Paul put it in writing to the Corinthians that if someone has all these amazing gifts but has not love, they're just like a clanging cymbal. And it's so important that our character is right if we're serving the Lord. Our character is right so that we do things for the right motives. We do things with the right attitude. And character needs to be right for us to persevere in doing these things. So remember this. You may think, well, I don't have a lot of ability. How can I serve the Lord? It's your character is the most important thing. Or maybe you're thinking, you have ability. How is your character? Does it measure up? These qualities which are mentioned here should be in all believers. Perfectly examine yourself to see if they are in you. Paul goes on and he connects the conduct of the potential elder's home life with his church life in verses 4 to 5. And the home in many ways is like a mini church and a tremendous training ground for all Christian service. And if your home life is what it should be, then most of your life will be in order. So how is your home life? What sort of Christian are you in the home? There's something wrong if there's a big divide here. Sometimes I hear of young people who are serving the Lord and doing outreach teams and yet have no respect for their parents. That's not what it should be. Yes, serve the Lord on your outreach teams, but serve the Lord equally by respecting your parents. I have heard of people in a leadership position and patient and gracious with those in their church, but very impatient in their home. That again is not what it should be. We should be in our home people who are full of grace and love and goodness. Now, of course, the home is one of the hardest places to be faithful for Christ. It's not an easy place to be a Christian office. It's a place where we relax, and when we relax is when maybe so often it's not the best in regards our Christian qualities. So think about your home life. What sort of Christian are you in the home? Paul then brings up the importance of maturity for a new elder. Look there at verse 6 what he says. He says, he must not be a recent convert, or he may become puffed up with conceit and fall into the condemnation of the devil. Pride is a very dangerous enemy to spiritual life, and something we all need to be watchful of and prayerful about. Paul here speaks about falling into the trap of the sin of the devil. The devil is believed to be one of the most glorious angels in heaven. Lucifer, the morning star, someone who indeed reflected the splendour of God in an amazing way. And yet he got filled with pride. He rebelled against God, wanting to be God himself. You know, we always have to take to heart the words of John the Baptist when he says, "He must increase, I must decrease." We mustn't be full of ourselves. We mustn't be so conceited. I remember a dear friend who used to regularly use the phrase about people, they forgot the bowl that they were baked in. We need to remember the bowl that we were baked in was the bowl of sin. We're sinners by nature. There's no time for pride, and anything we are is by the grace of God alone. So let's be humble. Let's watch out for that pride. And one of the things we just be careful about is we can even be proud of our humility. Watch out for that too. The final requirement for elders mentioned here is a good reputation with outsiders in verse 7. Our Christianity is not to be a Sunday performance, but something that is real on every day of the week. We're not to be of those who says that holier than thou on a Sunday, rob you blind on a Monday. Our Christianity has to show itself to be real every day of the week in every situation that we are. As Duncan Campbell said about people, they need to see God in dungarees. They need to see the reality of Christ in Christians' everyday lives. That's something that's so important. We need to be those who show how we live in every area that we belong to Jesus. Calvin said that if someone was a believer, even their dog should know the difference. Even their dog should see a holiness, a love, a gentleness that is there. Are we those, indeed, who every day of the week seek for God's grace? Let's examine our lives. Let's examine what we're like in our workplaces, in our schools. Examine what we're like in our home, in social lives. Let's examine our life in every situation. And pray for God to expose any sin and anywhere we're out of step, and that we would be repentant and seeking His grace day by day. Do you seek to make not a good but the very best possible impression? Do people outside see you day by day as someone who is a genuine article? May God give you the grace for that.